Testing, 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 testing. Hello, test. Hello, 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 hello. Can you hear me? I'll probably talk pretty loud, so I don't think it needs to be that loud. Well, good morning, everybody. Total fault. No pressure, right? I feel like my dad's speaking or should be this. Anyways, so let's see, what am I speaking on? Oh, hey, I'm speaking on menu-driven presentations. So who here currently has or is using any sort of marketing menu? Okay, so we got a couple hands in here. And who here has never used one before, is curious about what it is? Okay, that's a good lot of people. Let's see, who here uses buyer agency agreements with their seller, or buyers, excuse me, sellers. Buyer agency agreements with their sellers. Just kidding. No one's hand should be up. So I'm going to be explaining both of those things specifically today, the tiered marketing menu, how to sell it to people, what you can include on it, and then the buyer agency agreements as well, and how you can get those signed 125% of the time. So I did a lot of worked buyers back in December, specifically this last year. I went on 8 appointments and I was able to get 10 buyer agency agreements signed on those 8 appointments. Yes, the math doesn't really work out, but I'll explain that as well as we go through. So what is a buyer agency agreement, right? We don't want you guys to work for free. Buyer agency agreement simply, or Washington State nonetheless, is just as it sounds, it's an agency agreement for you guys to be able to represent your buyer clients, and no matter what, that you guys can be compensated as and when they buy the house. There's 2 different types that I believe is mentioned, excuse me. But we don't want you guys to work for free. Who here has ever sold a house or multiple houses to clients and they decided to ended up writing it with somebody else? Yeah, it's never fun. Hopefully this can save your bacon. We want you guys to establish common ground, come to agreement on terms, because there's a lot of different things mentioned in there, right? There's the length of time that you're going to represent them, the commission, and we can help you guys decide and choose what commission you guys get with those. And it's the first micro commitment that they'll make with you along the way of you guys helping them put pen to paper. It's really important that they're always putting pen to paper with you guys. And then there's 2 different types of agency agreements. Specifically in Washington State, there's an exclusive to where no matter what, if and when they buy a house, it's through you. Or there's the non-exclusive, as in if I show them 1, 2, 3 Main Street and they want to buy 4, 5, 6 Main Street, they can do that with somebody else. But if and when they buy 1, 2, 3, they're buying it with me. And please, by the way, along I'm going to be explaining a lot of different things. It would be very helpful for all of us included if you guys ask questions. So Micah has a microphone as well that we'll pass around if and when you guys do have questions. So yeah, please ask questions if and when you guys have them. So why menu? Why do we need a menu when presenting options to our clients? Or why is it important? You guys have any ideas of why it's important? By show of hands. Micah, you got the mic?
It gives your clients a sense of control in the situation.
Exactly.
It feels like they are the ones that are deciding what's going on and they have a say.
Who went to Ron's presentation? Ron Anderson's. That was great, wasn't it? What am I behind him, Micah? Rip.
Another thing, when you get them starting to choose, it's almost like an alternative close. You're already getting them to say yes. That
you know how it is. Oh, it's in the book? Oh, I didn't even know it was in the book. But I guess I put the presentation. Maybe I should know, right? No, I love the alternative choice close and getting them options. That is one thing that I'll do on every single one of my appointments, even phone calls as well when I'm on the phone with clients. Giving them the option to choose between 2 to 3 options has been crucial in helping me out and being able to first and foremost set appointments to get them to convert inside the appointment. And we have a tiered marketing menu. Mike, can you find me a piece of paper, just one blank piece of paper, please? A tiered marketing menu. So we have the basic plan, which is what you'll do for everybody, the standard, and then the platinum. So we'll go into each of these one by one. What's on the menu? What are you guys hungry for today? You guys hungry for the basic, the standard, or the premium plan? Everyone wants the premium, right? Everyone wants to get that. Let's go with the basic first. The basic's kind of more or less the MLS offering, whatever that number is. It's the things you'll do no matter what. And all of these things are going to vary from person to person, by the way, in terms of what you will and what you won't do. I'll be showing you and explaining some things that I like to do and I have on my menu. It's the normal things you do no matter what. Oh, you know what? I'll show you what comparable properties are selling for. I'll open the door for you. I'll show you the house. I'll write an offer. Those are things you do for all your buyer clients, right? Who here wants to write offers to their buyer clients, right? Everybody does. Everybody will write offers. You'll get them connected with your lender, right? You'll show them the properties, show them CMAs, etc. Those are the things that you will do no matter what. And in a little bit as well, I'll give you guys time to add things onto each of these to go through, so you guys can kind of more or less personalize it to what you want to do. The standard, that's a little bit more than the MLS offering. So our team actually, we have 3 different menus that we use. We have a buyer menu, we have a listing or tiered marketing menu, and we have a recruiting menu. That's for us to recruit agents to the team. But our standard on this is just things you like to do, things that aren't necessarily necessary, but are helpful. And and the clients can see value in that. It's the above and beyond. For example, it's the love it or leave it guarantee, or any sort of USP that you guys have as a team. USP is a unique selling proposition. For example, Lee Garland, we saw him on stage. He has the cash offer program. We have that as our team as well. The showing agents on demand. Talk to your team leader about this, or if you are the team leader, having showing agents on demand. Do I see a question right here? Micah, you have a mic?
What is your love it or leave it guarantee? What does that mean?
Love it, or so specifically with the love it or leave it guarantee, it's going to vary by person to person. So what we're doing is I can't remember specifically what the wording is, but it's love your home or we'll list it for free for within 60, 90 days to owning the house. And then we can go ahead and sell the next house as well. Wait, question here in the front, Micah.
How are the showing agents on the team compensated?
It's a great question. It's going to vary by team to team, but what we do as a team personally is it's a 2-hour minimum. I believe it's either $25 or $50 an hour to have the showing agents do it. We bring our newer agents and having them do that first to build up experience. Great question. Wendy in the back, are you using showing agents on your team? So you're using the newer agents as well. Awesome. The offer negotiation from your team specialists. I personally don't do any of the offer negotiation where they're listing our buyer side on my team. We have a specialist on our team that's what she does. She negotiates our offers, and that's through listings. Then there's your platinum, the most expensive one. This is the extreme, over the top, and things people in your market just generally won't do. Or there's a select few that will do it. And for example, a handyman for the day, move for free, whether that you guys have a moving truck or whether you guys have a team program in place. And then you have an IC team for marketing, off-market house hunting. Most of you guys may have some things you could put into the platinum program that you're already doing at the basic tier. You should call it your premium tier, right? Here, on the selling side, who here puts booties into their hat, like shoe booties? I see a hand right here, a couple of hands. Yeah, got to clarify that one. Here, shoe booties, right? That's one of the things on our premium marketing, right? Most people will naturally do that for all their houses, but why not ask for it and show the value at the premium tier? Okay, so we'll talk about selling the menu, but first, in terms of building the menu, any questions about building the menu and what can be on the menu, so to speak? Go ahead. It's a great question. So you as a team will pay for the handyman or one of your vendor partners you guys have. Correct. Do labor for the day. Exactly. Well, yes, the client will provide the materials or pay for it on top, but you provide a handyman to them for the day to fix whatever needed on the house that wasn't covered in the inspection, the negotiations, etc. So this right here, before we get to this next section, I want to give you guys a minute to 30 seconds to a minute to go through and write down some things that you specifically will do for each of these tiers. I'll get this next part ready for us. So do I have an, I'm just gonna restate it so everybody can hear it. Yes, I do have our menu. If you email clientcare@clubwealth.com, you should be able to get it. I was hoping to have it for this, but I completely forgot to bring it with me. Yes, so clientcare@clubwealth.com. They're gonna kill me for saying this and making me do more work. But it is on the Club Wealth University as well. And they should be able to get you guys the menus of what we're using. But of course, we can't show the numbers that are specifically within there.
Austin, I had a quick question.
Go ahead.
Just for clarification, please. So when you're presenting these to your buyer clients to get the buyer agency agreement signed, and there's these different menus that you're selling to them, so are you charging your buyers fees? Is that what this
So are we
is?
changing what we're asking to get from the buyer clients?
Yeah, I just wanted to clarify when your buyers are picking these different things, as we say, like, hey, this platinum is the most expensive for the buyer package, are obviously that would cost you because you're
Exactly.
covering fees or things like the handyman. So when the buyers are signing, are you saying, hey, I'll represent you as a buyer and you have to pay me X number of dollars for this? Just wanted to
Yes,
clarify.
we're getting it 99% of the time as a team. We're getting it on that negotiated within our offers. So the buyer's not paying that out of pocket, if that makes sense.
Okay, that's
So,
where I was going.
yes.
It's like, where does this extra money come
Right? Because
from?
there's, I mean, if you think about the difference in money, right? The buyer's like, oh, I have to spend an extra 0.5%, 1.5% to do that. I don't want to do that. Then we can negotiate within the agreement. So Will, for example, who's here on our team, he does a lot of buyers. He only works on the buyer side. Since September 1st, he put 7 properties under contract, under asking price, with a higher commission with seller concessions. So he's very good at what he's doing. So he's also a great one to talk to. He's the guy with the Southern accent. He's running around taking videos of everybody. Question here at the front, we'll go to Barnett. Or Barnett first in the front.
How do you do the condition offer? The NAR code ethics, that's like ethics violation, put it in the offer, is it just a seller credit?
In our multiple, there's a specific form for it. So again, talk to your managing broker about that one specifically. I can't remember what the form number is, but there's a SOC commission where we say, hey, we want initial X percentage, and we negotiate that within the offer.
Your association has that.
Yes, sir, we do. So talk to your managing brokers about that one. Oh, it's NAR specifically? Okay, I'm not a realtor. I'm not a part of NAR. Barnett.
Yeah, my question.
Oh, okay. Is that? So yeah, I would just say talk to your managing broker, or like Wendy said, look in terms of what NAR has, you guys can and can't do. Oh, okay. Okay. Yep. So I guess I'm one of the lucky ones with it. Our MLS have those forms. Becky. Correct. We are. So what Becky's question is, just for everybody on Zoom as well, is are we negotiating more than what the MLS is asking? Is that correct? In terms of into the offer?
Probably do that because you're not a realtor.
Correct. Yes. So realtors can't do that then. Okay. So I'm not a part of NAR or the Realtor Association, so we are able to do that. And I'm not sure if it's an MLS thing as well, but our MLS specifically has forms that allow us to negotiate a higher selling office commission into our offers. So selling offices, as in the buyer agent, can negotiate. So the SOC. That's what they call it in Washington. I'm not sure in your markets if it's different. But the SOC, selling office commission, that's the buyer agent. And then there's the LOC, listing office commission.
We have done it where the seller gives the buyer a 0.5% credit and the buyer takes the commission.
There you go. There's ways to work it, like you're saying. It just comes down to, first and foremost, what's legal, be above the law, and then what can you guys negotiate with your offers. Mike, a question right behind you.
Rate that way. They have a signed transaction brokerage or buyer brokerage agreement with their buyers. And the way they work it into the offers, they don't specifically point out extra commission, so to speak. But you ask for it as a seller's concession because it indeed is a buyer's closing cost. Might not be a loan, a mortgage closing cost, but indeed it is a buyer's closing cost. And the only way to make it official is by having that buyer brokerage agreement or transaction brokerage agreement in it. And you put it in your contract as a seller concession for the seller to pay part of the buyer's closing costs to include that.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It's great to have a broker in here. That's another hand in here in the corner. I think I saw a hand. No.
Hey, on Zoom, Gary Owen has a question. He says, can you clarify what Move for Free program is?
Move for free, yes. So Sarah Santa Ana is a great example of that. She has a U-Haul van or a U-Haul styled van with her logo on it. And she lets, I think either the buyers use it or the sellers use it when they're moving in or out upon closing for either a day or two to be able to gather their belongings, move out. And that's their Move for Free program. Awesome, awesome. So any questions before we get to selling the menu?
They pay for movers, or it's like
There's loan the van.
labor,
Yes.
loan the van.
Yep. So they're not paying for the movers, they're just paying for the van and had that van owned as a team. Okay, so selling the menu. This is one of my favorite parts. We do this on all of our appointments. I love this especially on the listing agent side of things, but it works just as well as it does on the buyer side of things. So I'll explain how I walk it through step by step, first on the buyer side and then on the listing agent side. So this is our first appointment. We're walking in the door. Before I even open the door in Washington, we have to have a form that's signed saying that they received what's called the Law of Real Estate Agency in Washington State. So they know what types of duties, definitions, and responsibilities we have as agents. So they sign that, and I hand them the form. As they receive that, again, the first micro commitment, they're putting pen to paper. Then I open the door, let them inside the house. We walk around the house. I explain the square footage of the house, bedrooms, how many bathrooms there are, is it septic, is it sewer, etc. And then they do their little tour. They're asking questions along the way. And eventually, I do my best to leave the kitchen for last. We know it's always the best part of the house, the kitchen or the primary bathroom. And I show them the menu, show them exactly what's on the menu. Like, look, I would love to represent you in your home buying and home selling or your home buying process. With that being said, our team and we have different programs in place because we don't feel like one size fits all. And we know some people need a little bit more help along the way, or for lack of better words, hand holding to make sure that they get the best customer service as well. So I want to show you our commission menu and our marketing menu. So, and I pull it and I hold it like this upside down. So I drew some squiggles on this left side. If you guys can't see it, by the way, X, Y, and Z. X, Y, and Z represent different numbers, and that's between you guys to decide as teams. So I have my menu, and I hold it facing them so they can see it. And I'll use it as an example. And then I always carry on all my appointments 5 pens. So I'll do a red pen, 4 blue pens, buyer agency agreement, and then I'll do my tiered commission menu or my tiered marketing menu. Why 4 blue pens? I know Wendy knows. Anybody but Wendy. Why 4 pens? But who? Signing the paperwork. Yes, we need the pens to sign paperwork. Yes, very, very close. And does anybody? And a spare. Mr. Seller or Mrs. Seller, Mr. Buyer, Mrs. Buyer. The spare pen and one for yourself. Then the red pens to make errors, corrections, or to show them that X is not the best one for them. So I'll come back to here. I'll grab my pens. Ooh, I think I bumped that. So I always take out the red pen first, and I always have a blue pen kind of tucked behind my hand as well. So so here's my tiered marketing menu. So, and I'll go to the very bottom line item at the end of the page. So you may have on X 5 boxes that like, yep, this is what I do for X. You might have 10 boxes for Y, and you may have 5 boxes on top of those other ones for your premium. At this point, I'll go to the very bottom line item, and I'll say honestly, the move for free. Honestly, I don't feel like you guys need that, especially since you're coming out of state. And I'll cross it off with the red pen, and I'll scratch it off. Honestly, I don't feel like that one's needed for you. Give me an example of something you guys might have for your premium package. House cleaning. You know what? Honestly, the house cleaning is very nice. Honestly, I just don't feel like you probably need that. The house is very clean as it sits. Another item. What else is there for the premium? Handyman. Handyman's very nice, but we did the inspection already, and we just probably don't need it, right? You feel like we don't need it, right? Right? And you're shaking your head no, because then they'll start to do the same thing. Cross off that one, and then I immediately go to the top right of my paper, and I'll mark off with an XZ. Honestly, I feel like the premium package it's just probably not the best fit for you. And then I immediately will jump to X. X is our basic program. That's the whatever that number is. And then I kind of like tap the pen on my chin. Honestly, it works. It works. Honestly, I do this one with like a lot of first-time home buyers, especially if they're trying to like get in the door, get on a really low cost. Honestly, I don't feel like that one's a good fit for you. Then I'll click the pen, switch to the blue pen, and I will circle Y, whatever that number is. Honestly, I feel like this one's the best fit for you. What's he doing? Shaking his head up and down. Every single time you guys can get that Y commission. Every single time. Barnett.
So you go item by item down the menu, or do you
I just do that exactly just like that. I don't go over every single item. Same, I'll do the same thing for listing side real quick. Where I guess it's the exact same way you're selling it. So generally speaking, when I'm going on my listing appointments, nobody ever asks me about commission until we start signing paperwork. That commission is only, or price is only issue in the absence of value, right? Ron went over that yesterday. If you continue to show value, people won't have a question about your commission. They don't necessarily care what you guys charge. They care what's going to cost to close on the house out of pocket, whether that's on the buyer side or whether that's on the selling side, right? So people ask, oh, what's your commission? I don't have a set commission. I feel like that's price fixing. So what I'll do is I'll show you some options here in a second. But long story short, you're generally speaking, your closing cost will be about 10%. And then when you show them your numbers, they're like, oh, that's cheap. Or, oh, is that on top of the 10%? No, that's actually included with the 10%. Oh, wow. And they feel like you're doing them a service at that point. And then they won't have any issues about it. But again, sorry, ADHD, I get sidetracked a lot. Same thing on the selling side. Wait, who did here does buyers and sellers? Okay, so this is gonna be value for both sides. Okay, same exact thing. So people, as I'm filling out paperwork and as they're going through paperwork as well as when I bring up my commission menu, I'll get a little bit quieter and a little bit more calm. So I'll go. So do you mind if I show you my commission menu real quick? Okay. So this is my commission menu, and then I put my hand on top of the numbers so they can't see the numbers. They can only see what's included with each. So this is my commission menu. I'll stand back over here so you guys can all see it. This is my commission menu. I don't have a set commission because I feel like that's price fixing. So I want to make sure you have options. And then I'll take my hand off so they can see that, and I'll click my pen so I can go right down to the right side or the left side. I'm looking at upside down. Honestly, I don't feel like we need the high-end 6-second YouTube videos. It's probably not needed for your house, especially if it's mobile home, right? We sell a lot of mobile homes, I will say that. I mean, the colored flyers are nice, but we live on a busy street. It's probably not going to get much use. And then the booties are nice, but I mean, you have hardwood floors anyway, so it's not going to be a big deal, right? Honestly, this first one's not, the Z is not a good fit for you. And Virginia Corbett actually taught me this part for the basic tier. Honestly, I do the X for a lot of rental and investment properties. Honestly, that's probably just not a good fit for you. Click the pen, switch the pen. We're gonna go to Y, click it again. Honestly, I feel like this one's probably the best fit for you. Awesome. I'll immediately put it away and I'll look down at the paperwork and I'll start signing paperwork so there's no questions about it. Sometimes they'll say, oh, can I see it real quick? Absolutely. When they see it, I want to make sure no matter what they see red means bad. And they see Y is circled. By having them see Y is circled, they'll mentally make that commitment that yeah, you're right. That one's probably the best fit for us. We have a question in the back mic, excuse me.
So I'm from Canada, so our market's completely different in this regard with the
Yes.
listing agreements, buyer agreements. We don't have the market, the menus, the tiered menus for buyers, but we do have a tiered menu on our team for our sellers. My question for you is, when you get the question, so our commission rates, we start at.
Wait, we can't say numbers here, by the way.
So we start.
Because we're all agents, yes.
And then we have a higher.
Okay.
So we've got 3 different price points that we're looking at. So when we know our value is at the higher price point, and you go in and you show them the 3-tier menu, how do you respond when they say, well, I want the higher one, but I know that this other agent will do it for me at the lower one?
Show me evidence of success.
Right.
Okay. So who's that person you want to work with? Oh, you want to work with Wendy? Oh, really? Why is that? Why do you want to work with Wendy? I mean, I'll be honest with you. My team and I have literally listed and sold over 20 properties since September 1st when the market's changing. So what's more important to you, how much I make or how much she makes or how much you make? And always end with the question. Does that answer your question?
Yes, to a degree, because I find that we get a lot of people who will say, well, at the end of the game, it's regardless, how much I pay for you comes off of what I put in my pocket. So if agent A is going to give me the same number as agent B, well, I'd rather have more money in my pocket at the end of the day.
Absolutely. I know it's important to you what you make, right? But I mean, if we're looking at a statewide average, the average agent this year here in Washington State has been averaging about 102.5% of their list price to selling price. Us as a team, we're personally at about 108.5%. So yes, you may be saving 1 to 2% by working with her on my commission, But with that being said, you're going to net in your pocket 4 more % at the end of the day. So what's more important to you, how much I make or how much you make? Show them the numbers.
You bring like printed out statistics like that.
I don't, I just know them. Yep. So not to get too far on the listing side, all I bring with me is a checklist of things I need to go over. Then I have the last time it was listed on the market, what that, what's it called? The agent detail, the tax records underneath that, CMA underneath that. And then inside my packet, I have all those some paperwork to get signed.
And before you get to this point, have you already explained all the different items on all 3 plans?
Nope.
You
I
haven't explained them at all yet.
I say that, so when I get to the point where I say, are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? Then at that point, I'm still probably have not talked about the commission. Generally speaking, they'll bring it up either at that point or beforehand. If they do it beforehand, I'll tap my paperwork. I'm like, I have a tiered marketing menu that I'll show you here in a second. But generally speaking, Zillow, I always blame it on Zillow. Zillow's fun to blame things on. Zillow says your closing costs are about 10% all in. So that's your taxes, that's your title, that's your commissions, that's your repairs, seller concessions, escrow fees, etc. Everything included is going to be about 10%. And they're like, oh, okay. Say that again. Yep, Zillow says. I love to blame it on Zillow, except for the Zestimate. I hate Zestimate. It's so far off. Right.
Have you gone through a marketing plan already with the sellers? before you get that?
No, just a checklist. Yeah, I'm gonna go over a lot of my listing presentation at Listing Agent Bootcamp, but I want to split it before then. Becky, do we have a mic for Becky? Becky's best bundle of bets.
So one of my concerns is when I put this information on a piece of paper out in front of somebody, I want it back. I really don't want to leave that piece of paper there with them. So how do you get that piece of paper back?
I don't leave it with them. I never
know,
will.
How do you get it? I mean,
So generally speaking, when I show something like this, they'll ask, "Can I see this?" And I say yes. Other than that, I always have my hand on it, and I'm writing on it. And like, honestly, I think this one's the best fit for you. And I'm shaking my head up up and down. Excuse me. And they say yes. I'm like, okay, fantastic. I immediately put it away, and I hide it so they can't see it. And even when I put it into my packet that I bring with me, I put it inside reversed. They can't see it when I open my packet back up, because then they see numbers and they start rethinking themselves. So other than that, if they're like, I see it, yep, they'll look at it, and then either they set it down and I'll reach across the table and I'll pull it back. And I'll take it away from them. Question here. What? So XYZ, those are numbers. I have I'm a physical one that you'll see. I'll have to do XXX and XXX for number wise, but it will say basic number, standard number, and then premium / elite number below that. Thank you. Great question. We have a question from Ron. Johnny, excuse me, not John, not Ron. I keep saying.
No worries. So are those finite dollar amounts or those percentage increases?
Percentage. We do percentage increases as a team.
So, and you mentioned that you cannot speak numbers. Like, can you give an order of magnitude? Like, this is an extra 0.5%. This is a 1%, 1.5.
Honestly, I don't know what I can and can't do legally, because as agents, we're not supposed to talk commissions with one another. So yes, my dad, he'll tell you what I charge. Okay. But since he's not an agent, he can do that. But I can't. If that makes any sense.
We, in my market, don't have that rule. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Must be nice.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So what do you charge?
Would you look at the time? I think we gotta keep going. Okay. Okay. So explain why you have the menu. Not to backtrack too far. Have that red pen in hand. Flip it upside down so top is closest to you. Go over line item by line item, starting from the bottom to see their needs, and you'll get a good fit as well of what they're at and what they need. On the buyer side as well, when we're not to go too far back, but when you cross out the 8, say that's not a good fit for you, you immediately move over to the 6 or to the number that you have. to when you move over from Z and you go over to X. I didn't say anything, guys. Oops. Then sometimes you might see, oh, they are first time home buyers. So I can't say that they're first time home buyers. What are you going to say now? How are you going to switch things up? So let me pull the menu back up so you guys can see this. Exactly. So when we have the menu up like this, you're crossing off in red pen the Z, right? Then you immediately move over to the X. Buyer side, you know what? I do this a lot with first-time home buyers. Honestly, this probably is not the best fit for you. But what if they are a first-time home buyer? What would you, what would okay, so this one's not a good fit for you. No, this one's not either. Let's just, I want to make more money. Let's do this one, right? What are you going to say instead, Johnny? Exactly. This one's for my investors that I work a lot with. They just need the basic stuff. That's what I do. And honestly, I feel like this one's the best fit for you. And you guys will come up with different things as well. On the listing agent side, honestly, I just love rental investment properties. What if it is a rental? What are you guys going to say? First time home sellers, right? You can say first time home sellers. You could say, well, is this honestly just the basic stuff that I do? Honestly, we probably need a little bit more than that to get this thing to sell, especially in this market. This one's probably the best fit for you. And I'm tapping the pen and I'm circling in blue pen, not red pen, excuse me, the middle tier. I can put my pen back. Cross out what they don't need, cross out that platinum tier. Explain the importance of, oh yes, that's one thing I forgot to mention. Explain the importance of a single line item on the standard plan. I like to do that one. Go ahead, question number 2, Micah.
Well, I guess my question is on the 3 tiers.
Yes.
Do you ever change your menu for, let's say you're going after, a Google executive or something like that and listing their home? Would you then have a 3rd tier that you say, okay, here's my diamond? And
personally, I haven't so far. I mean, I use this on an NFL player and it worked. So I haven't. I always yes. So like, oh, he's above and beyond. He's got the ego, right? I shook his ego. He's gonna go for the premium. I'll be honest, I generally haven't. I've just gotten everything at my middle tier this year so far, just because I can and I want to. And that's the one I feel most comfortable with. We're gonna have a question here. We'll come to you in the front of it. What we got the mic right next to you. Excuse me.
On your listing agreement, when you enter in the total commission, in your agreement, do you have to disclose what you are going to advertise to the buyer's agents?
Yes, ma'am. So that's actually changing nationwide from my understanding as well, that everyone's gonna have to be disclosed, that everybody can see what the selling office commission is, not to get too far into that, but I sell the menu as well. People always get that question, what are you gonna charge the buyer side, right? What am I gonna have to pay them? So that's one thing I forgot to mention, thank you for bringing that up, is I have my X, Y, and Z package. Again, my hand's over this when I'm selling it to the sellers, and I'll even pay the other agent from my commission. So that way they're like, oh, he's gonna take it out of his side of things. So that way when I take my hand off and they see those numbers, they're not scared. And then what to talk about putting that physically onto the paper is when I talk to them about that specific number in terms of what will the selling office take. I'm like, I think that this number is probably a good fit for them. What are your thoughts? Yes. Okay, fantastic. Yep. Oh, yes. Question in the front, Michael. You have that mic. Run, Forrest, run.
So what do you do? What do you do if you have like a really high C client who's like, hey, what was on that menu again? Like, what are the things that you're going to do for me? Like as my buyer's agent, like, the show appointments, like all that stuff. Like, what if they ask you about it like a couple days later?
A couple days later?
Yeah.
If we have signed at that point, I can show it to them and I'll let them take it.
Okay.
But I won't let them take it if we have not signed.
Oh, got it. Okay, that makes sense.
Because I want to make sure I have that representation.
Cool.
Because that's, again, with sellers too, they'll say, we want to think about it. What can you leave us? Nothing. I'm not going to leave you anything. Other people want to know what I do for marketing. I'm going to take it with me, because as soon as I give it to you, if you meet with Susie on the street, she's going to take my marketing and she's going to go implement into her business. I know what my team and I have to offer, and it's because nobody else is doing that. So I hate to say this to you, but until we sign our listing agreements, I can't leave it with you. And then they're like, oh, other people are watching you. Why are you a big deal? Nothing you can do. Explain the line item. So of every on the standard plan, I like to do one single line item on demand showing agents. Have you heard of on-demand showing agents before? You haven't? No way. Oh my goodness. This is big. So, and I make a big deal out of this one single thing on the standard plan. Dude, if I'm not available, I'm at a kid's soccer game or we're at a town, I want to make sure that you can still get into houses to see those. I know it's important to you, right? So what we have as a team is we have what's called on-demand showing agents. So if I'm unavailable, I can have one of our team members come out and meet you as well. So that way, not only will you get the best customer service possible, but I can still see my family. Won't that be great? Yeah, awesome. It works. And that way, just with one single line item, they're going to believe you. I hate to say it that way, but they're just going to believe you. I haven't had many issues, if any, this year so far. Once I've started to do it this way with showing the one single line item, because they believe you and you say, yeah, I don't need the high percentage one. I don't need the Z tier or the premium tier. And you're showing them, look, we probably need a little bit more than this. You show them the middle tier, and then you're explaining why what you're seeing that one line item. And then yes, you will get your high C's. Like, oh, I want to read the entire thing. Okay, read it, then take it back. Make sure you guys are in control of the situation. And blue pen, circle that same plan, explain that this is the one that's best fit for them. Be sure you guys are in agreement, and you can use NLP for that. Have you guys heard of NLP before? Neuro-linguistic programming, by show of hands. I know Johnny has, he's been here a couple times. NLP is key. I love NLP. Just not to go too far into it, because I know Luigi's gonna be talking about it. Either did it yesterday or today. But it's just very simple. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? It's just me shaking my head left to right. No. Barnett. Has anyone ever called me out on it? No. I don't think so. Not this year. I can't remember.
Not this year.
No, but I mean, if you really think about it, are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? It's just very subtle. It's not like, are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? I'm not a dog, right? Don't you want to spend a house with me? No, it's just exactly right. Honestly, I feel like this tier is probably the best one for you.
And you're instantly.
Yep, and I'm pointing to it with my finger too. I'm circling it. It's the golden question. Listening side, buyer side as well. Are there any other questions before we get started on paperwork? So let's do it twice all together, left to right. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? One more. Are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? It works. It really does. I hate to say my dad's right, but he's right a lot. Some objections. We get objections on the buyer side as well all the time. Oh, or even the selling side. I don't want to sign anything. What if another agent finds me a better home? That one's pretty common, right? I just don't want to sign anything right now. I'm not sure if I want to buy in a year. I have to think about it. I don't want to sign anything with you without my wife being here. So what are some things that you guys can do to overcome these objections? I'd love to hear your thoughts, and I can share mine as well afterwards. So let's go first one first. I don't want to sign anything. What is a buyer agent's rebuttal to that? I don't want to sign anything right now. Barnett.
I totally agree where you're coming from. The best part about this agreement is that you're not completely done. If you feel like I'm not doing my job, or you feel like you may find some agent that can do a better job, you can board this, you can notify my broker and we'll get that. So it's just really just make sure we're both protected and we're doing the best way possible.
Exactly. I love that one. One thing I love to share as well is literally just slipped my mind. You don't want to sign anything, right? Okay. So just out of curiosity, tell me more about that. What's holding you back? What value do you see that I have not brought you today? Because if I keep working with you, if I keep showing you homes, and if I keep putting all this time, effort, energy, and money into helping work with you, I want to make sure that you go buy a house with Mark down the street. I want to make sure that I know I will be compensated for my time, and it's protection for both of us. So that way, if you go ahead and work with Mark, well, I want to make sure you don't go ahead and work with Mark. I want to make sure that you can go ahead and work with my team and I, because I know that we're going to be giving you the best service and best value as you've seen that I've shown you. So again, Barnett, are there any other questions before we get started on the paperwork? No. You just go immediately right back to the close. Good, Mark.
Yeah, and I think a lot of the differences between state law and different areas. In Texas, we have a promulgated form that establishes agency.
Okay.
And when I talk to people about the buyer's representation agreement, the first thing we have to do is disclose who represents who. So in the buyer's representation agreement, it establishes a
rep agreement, I have a fiduciary responsibility to that client. And I cannot share information that they have not given me permission to share.
Yep.
If I don't have a buyer representation agreement, and technically a sub-agent for the listing agent, and therefore can disclose anything the agent asks you a question, and you can tell them. So I encourage people to establish the agency relationship so that we have the fiduciary responsibility there. And I can't tell.
I love that.
people to become a fiduciary.
And that's crucial, especially it sounds like, is yeah. Well, do you want me to let the seller know that you're willing to offer them $50,000 over asking price? Or do you just want to write an offer up to asking price, right? If that makes any sense, that because you have to tell them, it sounds like legally. If in Texas, is that right? If they ask, wow. You have a question right here?
Yeah, I was gonna say that's a great response, and I also put it as, hey, I want to make sure I make you a priority.
Yes.
I can only prioritize clients that have a signed agreement with me.
Love that.
And then to your point, yeah, they become a fiduciary, but also in Virginia, they require an agency disclosure for them in writing before you give substantive advice.
Really?
So sometimes I'll do either, usually the full agency, but a couple times I've done an agency agreement, you can specify it just for one day.
Okay.
Expires after 1 day. Or you can.
So you're limited
you can
representation.
buy houses. Yeah, well, no, you're still the full agent, but then.
For a certain amount of time.
For a certain amount of time, yeah.
I love it. Oh, but what if Coach Wendy finds me a better home? I don't want to work with you, Austin. What would you say? We'll do one more of these and then we'll go to just a question. We're low on time. I apologize. Does anybody have a response to that? What makes you think Wendy's going to find me a better home? Oh, well, I don't know. She sends me houses all the time. She sends me really beautiful homes. And I like beautiful homes. Right? Exactly right. Is it what you're looking for?
I would go back to I want to make you a priority list. Yeah, I can send you an automated list, but when I'm working for you, I'm going to be having my ISA team call on your behalf proactively. Search, blah, blah, blah.
Does Wendy have an?
No agent's going to do that if you're not.
You're not wrong. You just got to ask them. One thing, that's one of our value propositions as a team is we have an ISA team. We have 4 ISA team members on our team. Does Wendy have an ISA team? Oh, she doesn't? Wow. So what we do is we have 4 people on our team dialing 8 hours a day to find homes for our buyers and to find buyers for our homes. So if I have all those people, that's 32 hours a day looking to find you, since we have representation signed, a home. So do you think that Wendy working by herself or myself and my team will be able to find you a home quicker and at a cheaper price? Exactly, right? And one thing you'll come up with is along the way as you guys practice this in use is you'll come up with a lot more and different objections. These are just a couple of the few that I asked my team members to bring to attention to us that they've gotten here over this year so far. These are some of the actual objections they've gotten. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I was just wondering how you handle objections with
I'm doing those a lot in Listing Agent Bootcamp. I think we're at 2 minutes left or 1 minute left on our time. Is what Michael was telling me. Oh, we got 1 minute. Okay. Any other specific questions that I can clarify? Anything I can do for you guys to bring me value? Client care at clubwealth.com. Tell them you want my menu. Don't tell them I told you to send it there.
Well, I will.
Even though the entire process is going to do it. All right, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh. Thank you.
For the menu, do you think it matters that so you do basic, standard, premium?